For me, the best bike that has been launched here in 2022 is the more relatable little brother to the Streetfighter V4, namely the Streetfighter V2. I actually thought it was so good of a bike that I bought it myself. This is the Ducati Streetfighter V2. It is equipped with the 153 horsepower, 955cc Super Quattro engine. It has 101 Newton meters and a dry weight at only 178 kilos. The rubber is Pirelli's newest Diablo Rosso Corsa 4 tires. 17 liters in the tank, and then it has what is called a monocoque aluminum frame. That means that the engine is a bearing part of the frame itself. And all of this together with the Brembo monoblock M4 calipers, we should have the recipe of a truly masterpiece. The design on this Streetfighter is sharp. It's actually Ducati's own headline about the design of this bike, and I think it's a truly masterpiece. I clearly remember when the V4, the bigger brother to this one, was launched. I fell in love immediately with the design. And I actually do believe that there is some more fine details here on the V2 than on the V4. I really love, and this is my personal opinion, I really love the fine line there is in between a sports bike look and then the design of a street bike Streetfighter like this. They have really smashed it with this one, and my favorite detail is the rear end of the motorcycle. Sharp lines, extraordinary design aesthetics, and amazing build quality. And I also believed in all of these things before buying it myself. Of course I can say that now, but I really thought that. It is well known that the headlight of the Streetfighter V2 is designed to have the grin of the Joker. But the designer, Jeremy Farrar, actually told that, and he was also the guy who designed the original V4, the Scrambler Desert Sled, Scrambler 1100 and the new Desert X. He actually told that he wanted the whole bike to be inspired by the Joker. I really can't wait to see what he is going to bring to the table at Ducati. He's really bringing something new and exciting into the Ducati design team. Because the Streetfighter V2 is based on the Panigale V2, there has been some major changes to obtain a more relaxed riding position, but still not compromising the aggressive sporty feel. The clip-ons has been exchanged to a real handlebar. The seat is actually much more wider, but also much more padded. And then the foot pegs has been relocated as well to have a more open position with your legs. And that is actually where this bike wins for me, because both of my knees is smashed totally. I missed the front ACL, and my meniscus is also ripped as well. So I have a hard time being on a sport bike for a long period of time. But the exact position I have here on the Streetfighter V2, I have no problems at all. I have no stiffness, I have no pain while riding. That is a huge plus for me. The suspension setup we have on this Streetfighter is also something we have to talk about, because in the front we have the 43mm Showa BPF fully adjustable front forks, and these are not grabbed from one of the lower shelves. People riding frequently track days and has their knowledge into suspension setup would appreciate a set of these. The rear suspension, also fully adjustable from Sachs, It's not grabbed from the same shelf as the Showa front forks, but they are much more capable than the most of the people who buys a bike like this. But it works totally fine. I've been riding on this bike for months now, 3 months I think, and I have no issues at all. But if you are buying the Streetfighter to chase lap times and only are putting money into upgrades where you are actually upgrading the bike, not only the looks, then that could be a start. But when that's it, it is a street bike for road use, and the suspension, rear suspension on the Streetfighter is actually much better than other competitors in this 1 liter street bike class. So you really shouldn't care that much about it. The modern equipment of pilot assistance controls is what Ducati calls this bike's electronic package. But what does that actually mean in the real world usage? If we start with the ABS, it has level 1, 2 and 3, where level 1 is never the standard mode. And we could say that level 3 is for normal road use. It guarantees a safe and stable braking and also keeps the rear wheel to the ground, which is pretty convenient when driving in traffic. The Streetfighter V2 also provides cornering ABS, which prevents a low side crash when the bike is on an angle. And that also still applies to the ABS level 2, but that level is maybe more for the more experienced rider who maybe also occasionally find themselves on the track. Still controlling both of the wheels, cornering ABS is still activated, but disables lift-up control to allow harder, sportier braking. In level 2, the slide-by-brake function is activated, allowing the rider to drift into turns. Level 1 is for the mental. Should only be used on the track by persons who rides in the MotoGP. Only applies to the front wheel as well. I think I stay in level 2. And when talking about the MotoGP, this bike comes with the MotoGP derived DTC Evo 2 traction control system, which is managed by the IMU. A predictive strategy allows not only for a cut in power delivery after slippage, but also predicts its start. That is a fine electronic brain we are working with right here, folks. So that gives us 8 different traction control levels to choose from. 6 for dry conditions and 2 for wet. So if you are buying the Streetfighter V2 to chase lap times, there's now a whole strategy side to it. Then we of course have the wheelie control, which is self-explanatory. The quick shift up and down, and then we also have the Ducati brake light system, which activates a flashing feature on your rear light at a violent braking. And then we have the TFT dash, which is by far my favorite TFT display I've seen on any motorcycle. All the information I need is there. The font is beautiful and not too cartoon-ish, if you know what I mean. And one of my favorite details with the TFT display is that every time I fire up the bike, a little square with all my different levels is appearing. My ABS level, traction control, wheelie control, all of that stuff. But as soon as I start riding, it disappears. So I get the information I need just to check. If I'm on a track and then have to drive home, then it's nice just to see how is the setup actually, and then I can change it before I start riding. But as soon as I begin to ride the motorcycle, it disappears because then it's not important anymore. So not too many informations, but everything I need. The only downside I do believe there is to the TFT display is that there's no fuel information. Of course there is a indicator when you have to go to the nearest gas station, as on all bikes, but there's no information on how full my tank is. That I could miss a little bit, but it's not important, but it would be nice. I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. This is a premium bike, and that is why it is a little bit more expensive than other 1 liter street bike motorcycles. And the word premium is hard to describe, but first of all, it's a feeling. And second of all the parts there is on this motorcycle is designed to fit the this exact bike. And there is nothing on this bike that shouldn't be there, so everything has a purpose. The kickstand is designed to lay snug up under the motorcycle when it's not standing on the ground. The horn is hidden away and doesn't have a ugly L bracket in front of the radiator. The mirrors, now I don't have the stock mirrors on, but the mirrors is also cut out to have a specific design that matches the motorcycle. And I know it's all small details, but again, it is all of the small details that makes this a much more premium bike. And have we paid more for a more beautiful design in the past? Yes. Are we going to do it in the future? Yes. And I just think that this is a design masterpiece. I do believe that this is one of the designs that is going to be remembered for decades. And we are going to look back and compare other bikes to this one. One talking about design. And then there's the performance side to it. It is incredibly fast, but controlled, but still not as controlled. Now I'm maybe going to say a little bit on an unpopular opinion, but if we take the KTM 1290 Super Duke R, yes, I've called it a beast from the East, but it's very, very controlled. But it is so fine-tuned that it misses a little bit of the hooligan feeling that the Generation 2 had. The Streetfighter V2 definitely still have the hooligan feeling that I really want from a street bike. It doesn't have to perform fine-tuned like a sports bike. It can be aggressive. I really like when twisting the throttle, it just throw out all the power it has to me, so I have to control it. It maybe sounds weird, but that's just a feeling I have. And this bike definitely gives me that. And then there's the component list. Nothing on this bike has the right here we can save some money to it. That is why this bike have the premium label. And that is why I do believe that the Ducati Streetfighter V2 is the best motorcycle of 2022.